Marsha P. Johnson was born August 24th, 1945 in New Jersey. She was the fifth of 7 kids, and she was assigned male at birth. She was brought up religious by her family and continued to be Catholic throughout the rest of her life. At the age of 5, she started to wear more feminine clothing because it gave her a more sense of self, but she found that she got bullied for it and stopped doing that as a kid. Whenever she graduated from Thomas A. Edison High School at 17, she moved to New York City with $15 and a bag of clothes. And this is where she changed her name to Marsha P. Johnson, where the P stands for Pay It No Mind. And she also started wearing women's clothing 24/7. She was a self-described gay person, transvestite, and used she, her pronouns. In New York City, she was homeless. She never really had a stable home until later in her life. So she started to do sex work. She also waited tables and did drag. Her drag was known to be very lavish. It was all thrifted, pieces of fabric scraps, stuff she found on the street, and she was also very well known for her flower crowns. She was also known for making do with what she had. She performed with New York City drag troupe, the Hot Peaches, and the East Coast troupe, the Angels of Light. Her overall clothing message was that she was living unapologetically as a queer person of color. She wasn't known for high drag, but she did still love doing drag. She's famously quoted for saying, "I was no one, nobody from Nowheresville until I became a drag queen." She also loved to help when she could, especially when it came to the gay community. She was always in touch with the gay community because she was so proud. This is most seen whenever she helped a drag queen, Sylvia Riviera, who ended up being her best friend. She had a rocky relationship with her family, but she still did care deeply for them, and she loved to encourage people to find their true identity. There are a lot of contradictory stories about Marsha's involvement in Stonewall, but most agreed that she didn't actually start it. Despite that, she did do her part. She fought in the front line against the police and led several protests during the raid. As many other people during this raid, she felt like she had nothing to lose. And what really happened at Stonewall that day was that the police raided Stonewall Inn, which was a gay bar. They arrested the men, the riot started, then the fire started. After Stonewall, she joined the Gay Liberation Front, and after the 1-year anniversary of Stonewall, she marched in the first gay pride rally, which was in 1970. Marsha also organized a sit-in protest at Weinstein Hall because administration there canceled a dance after they found out that a gay organization was a sponsor for it. In 1973, the gay and lesbian community kicked drag queens out of the Pride Parade that year. So, Marsha led her fellow drag queens and marched in front. Many arrests and incidents with the police happened during her time of activism. Too many to count. With Sylvia, she started the Star House in 1970, which was a homeless shelter, and it kind of created a sense of community for young gay people. She and Sylvia paid for this house with money from sex work. She was known as the drag mother there. The location moved around over the years, but it is still a very important part of a gay culture. In 1966, she was still doing sex work, struggling more with mental illness, and she actually moved in with Randy Wicker in 1980 and lived there until she died. She took care of his boyfriend that had AIDS and really just advocated for young men with AIDS in the 80s, especially whenever it was a big epidemic. She fought for justice against anti-LGBTQ plus propaganda. She helped in hospitals where there were several patients with AIDS. And she also, in her life, remained religious and made it a very big part of her life towards the end of it. She did become HIV positive in 1990, and this kind of just led to her declining of her mental and physical health. She died in 1992. After 1992, Pride Parade, after that year, she was found in the Hudson River. It was ruled a suicide very quickly, but her friends and family disagree. They don't think she would have ever done that, and there was a wound on the back of her head. There was a lot of anti-LGBTQ+ at the time, and police brutality. Her ashes were thrown in the Hudson River, and there were lots of protests after the funeral. Marsha lived in a time where you had to be straight and white to guarantee survival. She experienced hate targeted at everything she stood for. And just her existence is a symbol to the gay community forever. Her overall message, don't be afraid to be different. She was unapologetically herself and very proud of her queerness and her blackness, and she tried to teach other people to feel the same way about themselves. Now, there is a monument near Stonewall Inn, and there are many tributes and documentaries to Marsha P. Johnson for all of the things that she did for the gay community and all of the activism that really helped pave the way to where we are now.